Chapter 2 The Sorrow Pine Forest. Zane was elated at the promise of going to Crimson Hollow on his father's request to investigate the magical disturbances. Not only would he be able to mingle openly in just 2 days' time, but he would also journey to the village on a secret mission that promised adventure and intrigue, or so he hoped. Life in the castle could be a dull affair. True, it had its perks. Every need was met, and he was treated as royalty. Yet Zane craved the freedom of the common folk, the ability to come and go as one pleased. Crimson Hollow was no ordinary village. Outsiders would take one look and think it cursed, fleeing in terror. Yet the truth was the opposite. Crimson Hollow was an enchanted realm, a sanctuary where monsters could find rest. Rest from being hunted, rest from being misunderstood, and most importantly, peace from the curses that afflicted them. Long ago, the annals of history tell of a desperate king hunted by mankind. He sought a cure for his affliction, for he despised being a vampire. He hated feasting upon the living to sustain himself. He loved life, yet was bound to death or undeath. After centuries of searching for a cure, despair consumed him. He resolved to embrace his demise, praying to any god who would listen for forgiveness before stepping into the dawn to gaze upon it for the first and final time. But legend says a celestial being answered his plea. It struck a bargain: freedom from the curse in exchange for a vow to live righteously. The king must welcome all monster kind into his village, serve them with benevolence and compassion, and erect an altar to honor the god who had heard him. The king agreed, and a powerful spell was cast. From that day, Crimson Hollow remained forever in twilight. Vampires no longer thirsted uncontrollably for blood. Werewolves no longer shifted against their will beneath the full moon. Banshees, abominations, and countless others found peace. It was paradise for those who longed for freedom from their curses. The spell also raised a barrier. The villagers called it the Veil. No human could enter, nor even see into the hollow. To their eyes, it appeared impassable, a mountain, a dense forest, a wall of illusion. Yet now, after 3 millennia, disturbances in the Veil were being reported. Zane found it peculiar. Why now, of all times?
"Nothing to be done for it but find out,"
he muttered. He wound his way through the castle corridors until he reached the front courtyard by the stables, where Fenric would be. Approaching the burly man with a warm smile, Zane called out,
"Fenric, you sly dog. How did you ever convince the old man to let us out of the castle for a spell?"
Fenric, nearly 7 feet tall, with corded muscles, wild brown hair, shaggy mutton chops, and piercing silver eyes, glanced at him. He growled a low, and replied simply,
"Luck."
Fenric Vale was the finest man, or half-man, a king could ask for as captain of the guard. A lycanthrope, he would normally shift into a werewolf at the sight of the full moon. But in Crimson Hollow, he controlled his transformation, and with it, the wild hunting instincts of a rabid wolf. His appearance was simple: a sleeveless leather duster, brown leather pants, heavy fur-lined boots. In his hands, he carried a massive double-sided great axe, forged of crimson steel, which he called Carnage. It was made from a metal unique to the Hollow, stronger than traditional steel, yet lighter than aluminum. At its pommel gleamed a silver wolf icon, catching the moonlight when he shifted with reflective silver shimmers. Sang waited for a more serious answer. Fenric finally said,
I came across the rumors one night while visiting the Red Cap's boots. I brought it to His Majesty's attention, and we agreed it was worth looking into.
Sang glanced at the horses in the stable.
Are we taking horses, or are we hoofing it?
Fenric sighed in exasperation.
If you keep asking me questions, the threat, if there is one, will have conquered the kingdom already. But yes, we are hoofing it. I don't want to draw attention to our arrival. We'll move through the Sorrow Pine Forest and enter the hollow from the west. It's longer than the main road south, but discretion is necessary.
He snorted.
And I know your father told you to shapeshift your appearance. Don't try to convince me otherwise. When we near the hollow, you'll do as you're bade. Am I understood?
Sang smirked.
Why, good sir, are you commanding your prince?
Fenric guffawed.
You're still the same young whelp, and always will be to me, young sire.
Sang chuckled at Fenric's stoic nature. He was always trying to get a rise out of the mostly serious captain of the guard. Turning away, he grabbed the traveling pack Fenric had already prepared for him and sifted through its contents. Inside were a week's worth of rations, mostly bloodroot, Sang's preferred food. Thanks to Crimson Hollow's blessing, Sang didn't need blood to survive, but he still preferred the taste. As a compromise, King Erendor had introduced him to bloodroot, a plant with an iron-rich metallic flavor similar to blood. Raw meat sometimes scratched the itch too. The pack also held a 50-foot hempen rope, a grappling hook, a sleeping bag tied to the outside, flint and tinder, a lantern, and a flask of oil. Sang raised an eyebrow and glanced at Fenric, who was rechecking his own supplies.
You do remember I'm a vampire, and can fly and see in the dark and all that, right?
Fenric snorted.
Are you an experienced traveler all of a sudden?
He shot Sang a sideways smirk.
Listen, you never know when that kind of stuff can come in handy. And it'll help with your disguise when we get to town. You can pass as a traveling monsterkin just arriving in the village.
Sang considered that for a moment, then nodded.
Okay, you win. I'll concede to your worldly ways.
With that, the two finished packing.
Well, time to.
Sang began, but a sudden shout cut him off.
Wait!
They turned to see a frantic-looking female vampire rushing toward them. It was Sang's older sibling, Flores. Not by blood, she hadn't been born a vampire either, but in Erendor's kingdom, she was labeled as such to maintain the royal image. Sang eyed her with curiosity.
What's got your knickers in a bunch?
Flores stopped. She said excitedly,
I'm so glad I caught you before you left.
Unlike Sang's shoulder-length white hair and gold eyes, Flores had wavy black hair. An ivory hairpin shaped like a lotus held part of it in a loose bun. Her skin was fair, as all vampires were, and her lips were a deep, voluptuous red. Her eyes were a warm copper rather than gold. She had been turned at 120 years old, still young for an elf, and her figure was full and elegant. She wore a black silk robe that draped over her curves and adorned herself with jewelry shaped like various spiders. By Sang's estimation, she was stunning.
You're going through the Sorrow Pine Forest, yes?
She asked eagerly.
So the rumors say.
Sang replied, giving Fenric a curious look. Fenric only shrugged.
I need you to pick me some dusk lily if you come across it.
She looked at him with wide, pleading eyes.
No way.
Sang said immediately.
Not happening.
Her expression fell so dramatically that Sang felt his heart almost stop beating again if it could.
Of course we will.
Her face lit up.
Thank you.
She leaned in and gave him a quick peck on the cheek, and Sang felt like he flushed a little.
What are you doing with it this time?
Sang asked.
I want to make a potion that lets non-night seers see in the dark. I found the recipe in Father's library. It sounds incredibly useful.
Flores was an alchemist by trade, and a damn good one too. She was self-taught, gifted, and already teaching the king's own alchemist new techniques.
Well,
Sang said, glancing at the sky.
the day's not getting any brighter, so...
Flores flushed.
Yes, of course. I won't keep you. Promise me you'll be safe.
Sang laughed.
I can promise I'll try to be safe. That good enough?
She slapped his arm playfully.
I suppose that will have to suffice.
Sang fastened his rapier to his belt, shrugged into his black leather long coat, and hoisted his adventuring pack onto his shoulders.
Time to go,
he said to Fenric. Fenric grumbled.
You sure you don't want to say goodbye to the whole kingdom first? I know this must be hard for you.
Sang rolled his eyes.
Oh, do shut up.
With that, the two set off toward the hollow. It would take about an hour to reach the western outskirts where the forest began. They spoke little. Fenric wasn't much of a conversationalist. He was a man of action. Sang liked to tease him, but he trusted Fenric with his life. Fenric had taught him how to use a sword, a skill Sang rarely needed as a prince, but one he practiced daily simply because he loved the art of it. They reached the entrance to the canopy of trees when Fenric stopped abruptly and held an arm out in front of Sang.
Stay close to me in the forest,
he warned.
Our land may be safe from outsiders, but that doesn't mean it's safe from what lurks within our kingdom. Not all monsters are reasonable. Some are more animal than anything else.
You act like I'm a freshly coddled child from his mother's womb, old man.
Sang shot back.
Your father charged me with keeping you alive on this little excursion.
Fenric replied flatly.
And that's exactly what I intend to do. Stay close.
With that, they stepped beneath the canopy. The trees of the enchanted forest towered above them, their trunks thick and ancient. The woods were dense, and though trails wound through them, wandering too far off the path meant becoming hopelessly lost. Fortunately, both Fenric and Sang were creatures of the night. Darkness and disorientation were little concern to them. Sang had only been in this forest a handful of times in nearly a century. Life as a prince kept him isolated, and when he did travel through these woods, it was always with a royal escort, not on a secret mission his father had quietly assigned. Now that he thought about it, he'd been so eager to leave the castle that he hadn't questioned why his father sent him and Fenric. The realization unsettled him. Was there a greater threat his father hadn't mentioned? He would find out soon enough, assuming there was anything to find at all. The forest around them was hauntingly beautiful. Swarms of glowing insects drifted lazily through the air. Moonlight glinted off the eyes of night owls perched high in the branches. Everything felt serene, yet dangerous. Beautiful, but deadly to the unaware, which Sang had to admit he often was. Fenric, however, was not. As they walked through the tranquil gloom, Fenric suddenly froze. He sniffed the air, muscles tensing.
What's wrong?
Sang asked.
Not sure.
Fenric murmured, scanning the shadows. The hair along the back of his neck stood up like a wolf's hackles.
I don't see or smell danger, but something feels off.
Sang looked around as well. His vampiric sight could detect the heat signatures of blood, but he saw nothing.
I think you've spent too much time in the castle, old man,
Sang said, then suddenly brightened.
Oh look, a dusk lily. How lucky is that?
Before Fenric could react, Sang stepped toward a beautiful purple flower growing from an oddly shaped mound of wood. He reached out to pluck it.
No, don't.
Fenric roared. Too late. The wood exploded upward with a guttural, splintering growl, like a wolf's snarl mixed with breaking branches. The creature lunged, its wooden jaws clamping onto Sang's wrist. He cried out as jagged bark teeth sank deep into his flesh. Fenric moved first. In half a heartbeat, he was already charging, axe drawn. With a savage overhead swing, he brought carnage crashing into the creature's flank. The beast shrieked and released Sang, turning its hollow eye sockets toward Fenric.
It's a bark-eyed devourer.
Fenric barked.
Stay back. Watch for its roots. If it tangles you, you won't last long.
He charged again, swinging a wide horizontal chop meant to sever the creature's lower jaw. But the devourer twisted aside with surprising agility. Fenric's momentum threw him off balance, and a root-like tendril shot from the creature's body, wrapping around his leg before he could retreat. Sang snapped out of his shock and drew his rapier. He lunged, stabbing deep into the creature's eye socket. The blade sank in, but the devourer barely reacted.
That's not going to work, numbskull.
Fenric shouted. The beast yanked hard, pulling Fenric off his feet. In an instant, it was on top of him, more gaping, wooden fangs dripping with a viscous, oozing substance Sang could only assume was poison. Sang's mind raced. Then an idea struck.
Hold him off a little longer,
he shouted. He dropped his pack and tore through it, grabbing a flask of oil and his flint and tinder. Fenric strained beneath the creature, gripping its snapping jaws with both hands, muscles bulging as he fought to keep its teeth from closing around his throat.
Any day now, Sang,
Fenric roared.
Unless you want me to be this thing's dinner.
I've got it. Hold still,
Sang replied. He smashed the flask of oil against the devourer's side. Some splashed onto Fenric, but there was no time to worry about that. Sang struck the flint with vampiric speed. Sparks flew, and the creature ignited. The devourer howled in agony, thrashing wildly as flames raced across its wooden body. Fenric seized the moment, planting both feet against the creature's chest and kicking it off him. As the fire spread to the oil on his own clothes, he rolled frantically across the ground. Sang sprinted to him and shoveled dirt over the flames until they sputtered out. The devourer staggered, shrieking, trying desperately to extinguish itself, but there was no escape. With one final, tortured cry, it collapsed and burned. Sang stared at the smoldering corpse.
What in the name of the One was that?
Bark-eyed devourer,
Fenric said, brushing dirt from his arms as he stood. He retrieved his axe and continued.
Legend says it was once a wolf. When the magic protecting our land was cast, some creatures fused with the forest itself. They're made of solid wood, perfect hunters. They disguise themselves as logs, trap prey with roots, and their bite is poisonous. At least to people like me. Not sure how it affects a vampire, You being already dead and all.
Sang eyed the wound on his arm. It was healing up nicely with his vampiric regeneration.
Well, seems to be fine, but I don't want to find out.
Sang muttered. He approached the corpse, plucked the dusk lily from where it had fallen, and sighed.
Flores owes me for this one.
At least a kiss, I'd say.
Sang shot him a venomous glare.
You go too far, old man.
Sang retorted angrily, though a small part of him wished it were true.
Calm down, lad. Just poking fun. Are you all right?
Sang relaxed.
I think so.
Sang muttered.
Let's hope we don't run into any more of those today.
He glanced around, making sure no other suspicious logs or stumps were waiting to spring to life. Satisfied, he picked up his pack and slung it over his shoulder.
Agreed. And I still can't believe you tried to stab a piece of wood with that pig sticker of yours.
Fenric teased.
Listen, I panicked, all right? At least I had the foresight to set the thing on fire.
Sang shot back.
True enough. That's the one thing that saved you, boy.
Fenric laughed. They left the clearing behind and continued their walk toward the village border on the west side. The rest of the journey was uneventful, peaceful even, but neither of them noticed the figure watching from high above in the trees. Only after the pair had moved far enough away did the watcher drop silently to the forest floor. They approached the charred remains of the devourer and crouched beside it.
Well done,
they whispered. A wicked grin spread across their face as they turned toward the direction of the village. Silent, unseen, hunting.